being film buffs, film fans, film bantering fans, of which there are less than 5 of you. But we love you anyway. This is a show that we like to call Flashback.
Very well done.
Back.
You sound like Affleck.
Affleck, flack.
Who's your favorite Batman?
It's Affleck, flack.
Yeah,
Thank
he is
you.
one of my favorite Batmans, I
I
have to
think
say.
he's good.
I think he's great too. I thought
I
Christian
like him.
Bale was awesome.
He was good. My favorite is still Michael Keaton.
Oh, really?
I'm a
Not
fan.
for me.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Original.
He just looked like a weaselly little
No, I liked him.
midget of a
I
man.
thought he was good.
Man.
But
He
this
looks
week, folks,
interesting.
welcome back. We are doing a flashback episode this week.
Back.
But it's a
I should have
different...
brought out the keyboard for the
You
flashback.
should. What's broken, I thought.
No, it's right
works?
over there.
Okay.
It might actually
Next
work.
time. But yeah, this week we're doing a flashback show, but it's also... What's different, too, is that it's a theme flashback show.
Oh, it is.
Since we covered the Bonnie and Clyde film, The Highwaymen
last week's show.
where we covered the pursuit of them following the two police officers, we are going to go and cover gangster films, starting with the original Bonnie and Clyde.
There you go.
From 1967, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway.
Yep.
I think we're all pretty familiar with
I
that
believe this
film.
was actually a 68 film.
Was it? I have it here.
Yes.
I'll tell you in a second.
Yes, it was.
No, it's 1967.
Are you sure?
Yes, I checked 3 times.
Really?
It's
But it was in the
1967.
1968 Academy Awards.
Well, 68 covering 67's films.
Correct.
Yeah, but the release, it was 67.
It wasn't in the 67 Academy Award thing. It wasn't
No.
up against In the Heat of the Night.
No, but it was
won. It was up against Oliver, which won in 68.
All I'm telling you is IMDb has it as a 1967 movie, meaning that's the year it was
Correct.
released.
Correct.
Movies
But
that are...
usually, the Academy Awards are in the year...
No, never. They always cover the previous year's films.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So this was in the 68 for the year 67.
Right, so
Yeah.
that would have been the 69 films.
No, because it was
That-
released in theaters in 1967. But if it was
Correct.
in the 1968 Academy Awards...
Yeah, but the
they were-
Academy Awards are always based on the year that the films came out.
Yes, the
Never
year before.
the
Six-
year-
that's,
correct.
that's what I just said to you.
So it was up against In the Heat of the Night.
Then it must have been.
It must have been.
I'm just saying that it was released
Which won
in
Best Picture
67.
back then? Okay, fine.
Yeah, let's...
I would have sworn it was 68, though.
Well, I will look it up again for you right now because that would make you happy, Pedro.
Wait a minute. Does it say it here? No.
Right here, 1967 was the year of release.
All right, okay.
So that means it was in the 1968
I understand.
Oscars.
Yes, but for the year 67.
Correct. That's exactly. It's
Okay.
always
So
the next
it was up
year.
against In the Heat of the Night.
In the Heat of the Night,
All right.
yes. It went in that one, right?
Yes, In the Heat of the Night. Rod Steiger, Sidney Poitier.
Yes,
Rod
that was
Steiger won Best
1967
Actor.
as well.
Yeah, won
Yes.
Best Actor.
Correct.
But both Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway were nominated.
They
as were this film.
Exactly.
An Arthur Penn film.
Correct.
Just produced by Warren Beatty.
Exactly.
I just watched this film last night.
I watched it 2 nights ago.
I have the beautiful copy here. Here's a wonderful little book. No, I
you
got
put it in the back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it. But anyway, here's the booklet. Here's a book of I don't know if you can even see that or
Can I
make
see
it
it,
out.
actually?
But it's just a lovely piece
yeah.
of work. The copy is spectacular.
Gorgeous.
On my television here, it just looks absolutely
But
magnificent.
what doesn't look wonderful on your television?
Well, that's true, but it really just is amazing looking. I'm just totally enthralled with how
Yes.
great this film looks. I mean, here it is, a 1967 film, I stand corrected. And Arthur Penn was always one of my favorite directors. I just loved him.
Done some big movies.
Yeah, he really did. He did a great movie that nobody knows about called Five Friends. Oh, did I love that film. It was such a bizarre little piece of work. It was just about 5 friends.
Yeah.
And they just experienced love and sex and drugs all together.
Cool.
Had just, I don't believe there's anybody famous in it, but there was a young, dark-haired girl who I just loved. I mean, she just was amazing in this film. It was great stuff. And, of course, Little Big Man, just one of my favorite films of all time.
I watched that with you.
Chief Dan George.
You showed me that movie once.
Spectacular film.
Many years ago.
Dustin Hoffman playing a 110-year-old guy.
He also did The Miracle Worker, Alice's Restaurant.
Yes, he did.
And there was one of the one that was probably
He did
Night
The
Moves.
Miracle Worker?
Yeah, it was on
In
his
the
IMDb.
50s?
It's on his IMDb.
Is it really?
I don't know if it was the 50s
Oh,
version.
I don't think he did. Well, that's no. It came out in like 62, 63.
Yeah, it was that. It was the
Actually, that
most
is correct.
recent version.
Okay, well,
that was the big
Patty
one.
Duke
The big one.
won,
Yeah, Patty Duke.
She won like an honorary Oscar.
pretty
I
sure
believe,
that's
for
the
that,
one
but
who
I'm not
did.
sure if
Yeah.
she did. I think she did.
But back to Bonnie and Clyde. I guess we all
Okay.
know the story. There's
We all know the
No
story.
reason to really get into it other than It's a different perspective from what we just saw in The Highwaymen. It follows them.
Well, one thing I did not get to talk about, and I'd like to talk about this now. The real Bonnie and Clyde were... Clyde had he had gotten out of prison. Mm-hmm. He cut his toes off, so he got out of work duty.
Interesting.
But it wasn't
all
Clyde.
His toes?
No, he cut off like 2 of his toes.
Because you can't walk if you don't have any toes.
Well, he cut off like 2 of his toes, 2 unimportant end toes, so that he could still walk. And he got out of work duty, but the real evil person, in fact, they show a clip in The Highwaymen.
Yes.
The real evil person, he was just a bank robber. That's all he was. But the evil person who actually just was the murderous one was Bonnie Parker.
Yeah.
She's the one that just the evil was incarnate within that woman. She liked murdering innocent people.
They kind of covered that in The Highwaymen.
They did.
When she's close range, shotgun.
You see her walk up to a guy who's laying on the ground. It was a cop, I believe, and she just shoots him dead. Right. There's our scene with Frank Hamer being caught by Bonnie and Clyde, trying to sneak up on them. That actually happened. Those photographs exist. Why they didn't have that scene in there is beyond me. But
this film didn't really portray her as evil, I didn't find.
No, this film was glamorized, these two.
And then in Highwaymen, we barely saw Bonnie and Clyde, really. They were just a little bit here, a little bit there. We didn't stay with them for any extended periods.
We did get the glamour essence of their celebrity.
Well, from the newspapers and stuff,
when they go through town and they're
that's right, that scene.
Surrounded
when the fans are coming in the car.
I love it.
Yeah, you're right.
That was great. She looks like Susan Sarandon right here
a little bit.
But... you know, the real Bonnie and Clyde were not nice people. I do recall when the film came out, one of my friends, Ida Heyman, this woman that I know very, very well, her mother actually said to me, because I was all about this movie. I loved this film when it came out. I was doing lines from it all the time. I just loved this film. Loved Michael J. Pollard, Estelle Parsons.
I liked seeing Michael J. Pollard. I know. He's so young.
C.W. Moss.
I've always liked him.
Look at Gene Wilder right there in his very first movie role. There's Evans. I've seen this girl before. I don't know where. But, you know, the real people were not very nice. And here's Warren Beatty. Look at him in his studly best here. But, and it's ironic that he plays a guy who kind of like, he's not really, I ain't no lover boy.
I thought that was interesting,
Yeah, a little play on...
His brother in the movie, Gene
Hackman, Buck Barrow, correct, Mundo.
Which I don't even think they barely even touched on in The Highwaymen.
They did not, but he was killed. He was killed in a shootout, that just as it happened. With the mattress, he's trying to get out of the thing.
That's right.
This film has a lot going for it. Of course, the other film is just the other side of the law. We are following the men who actually captured.
It's a good companion piece to watch both.
It's a great.
So if you're going to watch The Highwaymen on Netflix, which is out now, I would definitely say if you haven't, then go check out Bonnie and Clyde to see the other perspective.
But
it's cool.
This really isn't a good perspective at all, because this really is a blatant embellishment of artistic discourse of complete and total annihilation of the actual people. The actual people were kind of sleazy little white trash. They were junk. They really were. And when I say junk, I mean in the kindest way. They were people that were just not very well educated. But then again, people from the South were not very well educated and had to do whatever job they had to do. These people just decided that death was a more honorable way to die than to just grow old and work at a diner their whole life or work at a wherever.
We're talking about being murdered.
I'm talking about death, meaning the course of going into a gangster, a criminal route.
I see.
That they took. And she did write she was a poet. She wrote, her first one was about Sorority Sue or some Sassy Sue, where she wrote, and then she did write the story of Bonnie and Clyde, which he did send to a newspaper and was published. You may have heard of Jesse James and how he lived and died. Well, here's the story of Bonnie and Clyde. No, and here's the, if you're still in need of something to read, here is the story of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Bonnie and Clyde with the Barrow Gang and da-da-da-da-da-da. But anyway, here we go. Here's the whole cast pretty much. Estelle won Best Supporting Actress for her role as Blanche Barrow. She was hilarious. She was funny. Running down the street screaming. Fantastic. I love this movie dearly. There's a wonderful scene in this film that has always haunts me. Shows up in some of my dreams sometimes. When they go visit when Bonnie runs away one day, she's walking through a cornfield, and Clyde's going, "Where you go? Don't leave me like that without telling me. Where'd you go? Clyde, I gotta see my mama.
Oh, that's right.
I gotta see my mama, Clyde.
And then he's giving the mother the speech.
Honey, don't you ever do that to me again. Don't you ever leave me, honey. I love you so much. I just can't have sex with you.
And then when they go to see the mother, he's like, oh, your daughter loves you. And she's like, yeah.
But I love that scene. We suddenly become a grainy. It's the whole scene is total grain. It just has kind of a weird. There's just such a haunting kind of a feel for it. I remember seeing it in the film in the theater the first time I saw this film. I was just a young lad, and I think I was just I think I had just been born. Actually, I was just out of the womb. And I was sitting there in the theater, a bloody mess, and but I do recall that scene very vividly. When Clyde, you just best keep on running. You try and live 3 miles from me, you ain't gonna live very long.
That was a good scene.
That's a great scene, but just the essence of the cloud of grain that Arthur Penn or Warren Beatty as producer decided to just discriminate that particular scene from the rest of the film, which is all very sharp and clear and professional and just beautifully shot, I feel. I love this film. I just adore it.
Yeah, I like this film. I don't think I love it as much as you.
Yeah, I do. I love it.
But I still like it.
You know what you've done there? You told my story.
Exactly.
That's what you done.
I thought it was still an interesting film. I enjoyed the performances.
Denver Pyle, right here.
Exactly.
He was in all kinds of westerns back in the old days.
No, he's definitely familiar with that genre. I enjoyed seeing Gene Hackman. I miss him dearly.
Yeah.
He's not dead, but he's retired.
No, he's quite
retired. I've been watching some older Jim Hackman films lately as well. Yeah, so I enjoyed
I heard
Gene.
he was making a little bit of that he might be appearing in something.
I haven't heard that.
Recently. Gee, I heard that from...
I know a lot of filmmakers have been trying to lure him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do anything. I don't know.
Well, he's really old.
You know what I love? Him and Jack Nicholson come out of retirement to do a film together. That would be awesome.
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's do that.
And Robert Duvall in there too.
Oh yeah, but he's always around. But that'd be cool. Yeah,
well, he's not around so much.
He still works. He hasn't retired.
Not very much. Not very much.
He does a couple movies a year. I see him.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, one movie every. Lately, it's been maybe one film in the last 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, he's done very little.
I just saw him recently.
Yeah, you saw him in the one film he was in.
Widows we saw.
Correct.
And he was great. Been in other things too.
I don't think
Doesn't matter.
Not important.
But so yeah, this is our first gangster film.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you know.
A
it's
little companion piece
to the Highwaymen, especially.
You know, there are essence of truths in here that they do mix in.
But it's a Hollywood version
a lot of
the
this
story.
kind of comedy. It has a very comic essence to it.
Yeah.
And then the violence is very real.
Yeah.
I think the
the end shootout is good.
The final end assassination scene of Bonnie and Clyde is far better in the Highwaymen.
Yeah, I agree.
That was just a brutal thing.
I honestly like that film better. At least for me.
Okay.
I liked it a little bit better. It's more modern.
Well, this is part of my history.
That's why I understand why you like it more. For me,
it's like you with the Goonies. You know.
Well, that generation of films.
Yeah, there's a movie.
This movie to me is very, it's very dated. The way '60s films are very dated. Sure. A lot of them don't live up to in terms of the style. It becomes stale.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. No,
like I said, the acting is great.
I love Gene in this.
I love Gene. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome in this film.
But anyway, so yeah, Bonnie and Clyde, check it out if you haven't seen it. It's definitely worth seeing.
Definitely.
It's a piece of history.
There is something I'd also like to mention to all you Bonnie and Clyde freaks out there. If you're still in need of something to see, you can go on the internet. There's a scene out of The Highwaymen. I was telling you this earlier tonight.
Yes.
There's a scene out of The Highwaymen, not a scene, but an actual truism, that there was a man on hand. They knew they were going to ambush Bonnie and Clyde due to the father of basically the C.W. Moss character, who was right here. He was the driver for Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
There was a driver. I don't know if his name was C.W. Moss or not.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was. But he actually gets out there to set up the ambush for the Texas Rangers to do this properly.
Yes.
And there was a man there to film.
Yes.
He was actually supposed to film the actual shooting.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He was there to, he ended up doing, he couldn't do it because it would have been, I mean, there's no sound on those cameras back then.
Of course not.
You know, it's just a regular, probably a little 8mm or whatever, maybe even a 2mm, I don't even know what they had. But that film does exist. Yeah. They talk about it in The Highwaymen. Now this man says, I'm here to film the end result of when these two people are killed.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I said, well, let's see. They put that in that film. It must exist. Sure enough, I went on Google and I wrote death film.
It's on YouTube, right?
Death film of Bonnie and Clyde. Well, I did a Google search
Was
and
that a
then I
different
think
website?
it led me to YouTube.
Okay.
But there is an actual film. There's a Bonnie and Clyde like site. And I believe it takes you there.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the film, and it gives you a little header. This is not for everybody. This is a violent, graphic, dead people here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you see Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, that was a big moment when they were captured and killed. Not captured, killed. Because the country was captivated by them for 2 years, roughly.
They were celebrities.
Yeah, they were. And then that's what a lot
in the time.
That's what Tarantino pulled on, used as kind of inspiration for Natural Born Killers with with Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis's character.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can see a lot of the parallels there. But yeah, they were celebrities, for lack of a better term. People loved them. They were like Robin Hood to them. Oh, they're fighting the evil bankers and the rich and. So yeah, it was a big thing back then.
Exactly.
So
they were still. Bonnie was a very evil person, and she just loved to kill people.
Yeah.
And she would just go up and kill people. I mean, they killed. They mentioned it in The Highwayman. She just goes up and kills a guy for $3 and a gallon of gas or something. That they end up killing this poor man just for the sake of killing him.
Human life doesn't mean anything.
It was just a horrible thing. And it was her. She's the one who was behind all that.
Yep.
Can't blame poor little Clyde on that one.
So, okay,
let's go on with
another
Kevin Costner
gangster
here.
film. Now another Costner film. We're going to go to 1987's The Untouchables.
There we go.
The Brian De Palma film, obviously.
Probably the big breakout movie for Kevin.
I would say so, yeah.
This post-dated Field of Dreams, I believe.
Field of Dreams might have been 86. Yeah, I think you're right.
What year was this?
87.
87? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so then
so
Field
this
of
is
Dreams
De Palma,
came first.
De Niro, we have Andy Garcia, Sean Connery in his Oscar-winning role.
Correct.
And then we have, what's his name, Charles Martin Smith, who plays right here. That got pixelated on your TV, didn't it?
Yeah.
But this is, I love this film. I've always been a fan of The Untouchables.
Andy Garcia for you.
I love this film. This is Elliot Ness and his Untouchables, his squad of guys.
You put one of theirs in the hospital, we put one of theirs in the mall.
Exactly. They're determined to take down Al Capone and his gang in Chicago during, obviously, the Prohibition period. Here's the real Elliot Ness with the likeness here by Kevin Costner.
I'm surprised you didn't put the Robert Stack.
I almost did, because that was the TV show, but I didn't do it.
It's a big TV show, but of course, to our audience, they probably don't know who the hell that is.
But this is a great film. I enjoyed this film.
I do too.
I read a book that was written by Art Linson, the producer of this film. It's a very interesting book, talked about his life producing movies.
It's the real Al Capone.
Real Al Capone. And he talks, there's a good chapter all about making The Untouchables and how, what a challenge it was to get that movie made. There was a lot of insight into the way De Niro brought Al Capone to life. It was a fascinating read. I recommend it for anybody that wants to read it. It's a book by Art Linson. And I believe the title, if I'm not mistaken, was called What Just Happened. And they actually made that book itself into a movie with De Niro again.
Really?
A Barry Levinson film, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's interesting. And yeah, he really does a great job.
He does a great job. He could still act back in those days. Yeah.
I think he can still act now. It's just that he chooses the movies he's going to act in.
He chooses not to act. He chooses to pick projects that are below him, beneath him, and it's just a paycheck.
I think he's been much better the past 5-6 years.
I would say you're right.
I think
Silver
Lining especially was a high note.
Came out of his.
I think in the mid 2000s, I think he went through a period where it was just like paycheck films. He did a lot of movies that were not going to be on his top list, you know. But this was definitely one of his best. Sean Connery's excellent in this film.
Still going, Sean. You know.
Yeah, he's in retirement, but he's still around.
He's got to be in his 90s. I'm gonna say.
I think he's a little less 80s.
Is he?
I don't think he's 90 yet, but he's not looking good.
Yeah, no, he's very, very thin. He did come out of the woolwork. He did do a voiceover on an animated.
He
film.
did.
Was the last thing he did.
It was a Scottish production,
that,
I believe.
That horrible Van Helsing film.
LXG.
League of Gentlemen.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
No, great.
But and he hated the director, though. He hated the whole experience. It turned him off of movies.
I know,
He stopped making movies after that.
I know.
Yeah.
But this film is. I always thought this film was very memorable. I love the score.
Yeah.
I love the whole back and forth between Ness and his guys, and then we cut to Ruthless Capone and his guys.
Right.
And there's that awesome An awesome ending in the train station with
Yep.
the carriage. This is a
It's
really
beautifully
cool
photographed.
film.
It has Brian De Palma's. Brian De Palma was always a little bit of his own worst enemy in his filming technique. He always had this slow-mo kind of a scene that he'd throw into everything. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. He was obviously a devotee of Hitchcock. And
he's self-admitted. He loves
self-admitted.
Yeah.
No. And most of his films, I like the scene where this guy falls off the
That was great, yeah.
building. That's kind of fun. But, I think, what was that movie he did? Femme Fatale, I believe, was one he did.
Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine was in that. And
Banderas, too, right? Was it Banderas in that movie?
Was that hard? Yeah, it was,
It was,
Antonio.
yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah.
But see, a lot of his films just... From me, he did make that Snake Eyes, I believe. Was that him?
Yeah, with
right.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nick.
I liked the first, let's say the first half of Snake Eyes.
Did you?
And then the ending kind of lost me. But that first, 10, 20 minutes was all one take.
Okay.
Which is really, it's always
amazing.
impressive when people can pull those off.
It was probably only a 5-minute scene, but it was all in slow motion, so it seemed to drag it out for 20 minutes.
But see, that's why I can't hate that movie.
Yeah.
Just because of that awesome opening scene.
Yeah.
So I can applaud that scene. And
that's funny. We're talking Snake Eyes here, and that's what I feel like I'm looking at right now. You kind of look like a snake. Right
I know.
now, with those snake
hey,
eyes.
I'm doing this for you.
I know you are. I
Folks,
like the way you constantly.
It's
pull it
moving.
Up. You don't have to put it over your nose, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't work.
Why not?
Because if I'm trying to protect you from possibly getting the little bit of a cold that I have, if I do this,
it's coming out of your mouth.
It's going to sneak here. It's going to sneak up.
Okay.
I'm doing this for you.
What a guy.
When you get sick, you're sick for 6 weeks. I don't want to hear about it.
So true.
But Untouchables,
I will blame you, damn
if
it.
you haven't seen Untouchables,
that's a great film.
It's really worth seeing. It's really well done.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, I tell you, he's always been a presence on camera.
I agree.
He really has. I've just always adored his films, and as we both noted in just The Highwayman recently, I just love the way he's really taking command of who he is as not just an actor, but as a human. He's recognizing his own authority with such gusto, and he puts it on that camera like not too many other actors out there that can demand that kind of presence and that kind of just pure eloquence of almost in between menace and a calm sobriety that he just brings to a role. It's a strange divide of persona that he is now able to. That's a very hard thing to do, to pull that off with almost no. And you watch Kevin Costner; he doesn't smile. He doesn't really do any facial acting whatsoever. He does it all through voice and just motion of presence and just applying that amazing presence to whatever character he's in.
I agree. I mean, like I said in our Highwayman review last week, I just think he's really honed his craft and gotten much better with age.
100%.
Because there were some performances early on, even some of the 90s movies, I just didn't love him in them.
Okay.
But now I like him in everything I see him in. I loved him in Molly's Game, where he played Jessica Chastain's father.
Well, I love Mr. Brooks,
Superman.
too. I don't know if you remember Mr. Brooks.
With Ryan Reynolds?
No, it wasn't Ryan
Was
Reynolds.
it Ryan Reynolds in that too?
I don't believe so. Mr. Brooks was he was a killer, I believe.
Yeah, but I thought Ryan Reynolds was in that film too.
That's very possible, but I don't think so.
I never ended up seeing that movie.
Oh, that's too
I
bad.
have it at home too.
I really
just
like it.
Yeah, Mr. Brooks.
It's a good film.
Let me double check. I could have sworn
And
Ryan
he also
Reynolds
is the
was in
one
that.
about his daughter, my daughter, or my. It's a horror film. It's almost like a Pet Cemetery kind of a thing.
Mr. Brooks. Yeah, I gotta watch that. I've been meaning to see that.
Do a little Kevin Costner search on there on IMDb, and you'll see.
Demi Moore's in that. That's right. Demi Moore was in that. Mr. Brooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think Ryan Reynolds
William
is in
Hurt.
that, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Ryan Reynolds. Dane Cook was in that.
Oh, okay.
I knew there was some comedic
What's
person
the movie
there.
he did about my daughter, though? The daughter film.
Oh, New Daughter, right?
New Daughter?
New Daughter.
Is that it?
The New Daughter, I think it was called.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a horror film.
Has
a lot of wind blowing in a tree. They live out in the country. And,
he did a bunch of
I think
movies
it's a
in
Pet
the
Cemetery.
mid-2000s.
Yeah, there's an Indian graveyard or something that takes precedence. But Kevin's got a great career. We could, we're almost doing a little bit of a Costner celebration right this moment.
Well,
he's an amazing guy, and I think
great.
he's on screen.
Talented filmmaker too. He's only made 3 films, but he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
He's only directed 3 films, but I like it.
Oh, he
him
has
as a
directed
filmmaker.
3? What? Well, Dances. What else?
Dance with Wolves. The Postman, which, not that great.
Oh, and
I didn't care for that.
Not the water.
No, he didn't direct Waterworld. That was Kevin Reynolds, who we've been friends with for years.
Right. He directed.
He
directed Robin Hood, I believe.
No, he didn't. That was also Kevin Reynolds.
That's what I meant. He directed Robin Hood. Kevin Reynolds.
You mean Kevin Reynolds? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they've actually made 3 or 4 films together.
Easily.
But Kevin, I mean, kind of was almost taking control of Waterworld. I believe the studio even gave him control at one point over the director, and that caused them some real big friction, obviously.
Yeah. They just came out with a director's cut recently.
They did, yeah. Oh, he also did this movie Open Range, which I never got a chance to see.
Oh, I liked Open
Western.
Range. Yeah, that was good. And I loved Kevin and Wyatt Earp, believe it or not.
I love Wyatt Earp.
I love Wyatt
That's
Earp.
a Lawrence Kasdan movie.
Oh, I love that film.
It's a 4-hour movie.
Gosh, I miss Lawrence Kasdan in a way. You know, he
Well,
did
he's
Body
still around.
Heat and yeah, but well, he was busy writing all the
Star Wars movies, Indiana Jones movies.
The Indiana Jones films.
Yeah.
He was always working with
Yeah,
Spielberg.
and Star Wars.
Did he write a lot of the Star Wars?
He wrote Empire. He wrote He wrote Solo, and he also wrote.
Oh, interesting.
Force Awakens.
Oh, I did not know
Yeah.
that. Interesting.
He's been around. He's still been busy.
All right.
My favorite movie of Lawrence Kasdan is The Big Chill. Love that movie.
I'm not a big fan.
I
of
also
that
like
film.
Grand Canyon. I like that film.
I love Body Heat.
Yeah, I have never seen Body Heat.
Oh, I
want to see Body Heat.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should see that.
I
Wayne
gotta
Burt
see it.
shines.
I love Wayne Burt.
Kathleen Turner is Lauren Bacall incarnate. She is lovely as she ever was.
Yeah.
Now she looks like a guy, unfortunately.
I don't know what happened.
Well, she's had some kind of hormone indifference. It's not her fault. She's had some, but she actually played Matthew Perry's father
on Friends. Yes.
And she pulled it off with great.
No, she was great in that
great
role.
aplomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
But she's had a hormonal indifference or something's gone on. But,
let's move on.
Let's move on.
Untouchables is great. Check it out. 1987.
It is. And a good and check out The Highwaymen, which we reviewed last week,
Yeah.
which was only 10 minutes ago, believe it or not.
Yeah, right.
But
it feels like it.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, Road to Perdition is the next one.
Here we go.
2002. It's kind of a film that I don't think a lot of younger people have seen.
Well,
it's with Tom Hanks,
checking out. I'll be
Paul Newman.
happy to give the
the
premise of this
Tom
film.
Hanks, Paul Newman, Jude Law, also Daniel Craig.
Absolutely.
It's a Sam Mendes film who did American Beauty.
I was shocked
and the last 2 Bond films.
I was shocked to see Daniel Craig in this film. I had
forgotten
all about. This is a 2002 film.
It is.
Tom Hanks. I don't know if he was the right choice for this. I think he was excellent. But I think they could have choose somebody more. I mean, it's hard to look at Tom Hanks without thinking of the Polar Express or, you know what I mean.
Well, this is him going against type,
Hanks.
which is good.
He's splash. He's big. He's a comedy guy. Of course, he's also Philadelphia. But,
Well, this is also a good decade past his comedy.
I understand
if not more.
No, I understand that. But at the same time, Paul Newman is kind of the nucleus of this film.
Yeah.
He's the big mob boss.
Yeah.
He controls everybody in the entire world.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, this takes place somewhere in the Midwest, right?
Chicago.
Chicago.
It's right around Chicago.
Okay.
And basically what there's Stanley Tucci, he's one of the henchmen of Paul Newman. Basically what this is about is there's a guy who has kind of betrayed Paul Newman. And he's played by that guy with the square head. We just saw him in that
I got him here, Kieran Hines.
Yeah, he's that horror film we just saw.
Elizabeth Harvest.
Correct.
Yes.
Amundo, very good.
He's an Irish actor, Kieran Hines.
Right.
You'll know him by face.
Yeah,
he was the king.
Square head. He's a bizarre
He was in Game of
guy.
Thrones. He's the king of the North.
Okay.
Yeah. He's great.
I wish I had a photograph of
I
him.
do. It's coming up.
Wonderful. Anyway, he is killed fairly, and basically due to a ranted, uncontrollable rage of anger by Daniel Craig, who is Paul Newman's son.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, this little boy, Michael, who is Tom Hanks's kid, comes out, sneaks away when Daddy goes away that night. He goes into the back seat of the car. Tom doesn't know he's there, and he inadvertently gets out of the car. He hears things going on in there. Gets out, and just in time to witness.
Yeah.
Witness Daniel Craig shoot this guy, who he wasn't supposed to see, and that becomes the whole can of worms that is this film.
Yes.
So now Paul Newman, we can't just kill. We can't just murder the kid. Now we have to get rid of Tom Hanks, who's been a hitman for the Paul
family.
Newman. And here, look, Jennifer Jason Leigh, right
Exactly.
here. Oh my God! When she first stepped on camera, I'm like, who the heck is that? Oh no! It's not Jennifer Jason Leigh, who plays the ultimate white trash in the new the new Twin Peaks, and also
I know, true, yeah.
You know, and also the Hateful Eight. Oh my God, she just kind of plays
Raising Arizona
this
too.
Tugboat Annie.
I'm sorry, no, that's Holly Hunter. No,
Kind of plays this Tugboat Annie kind of character. This old
Yes.
salty
Yeah.
broad. She is not like that in this. She's kind of the Elizabeth McGovern role, if you would. Here's a great role by Jude Law.
He was
My
excellent
God,
in this film.
He's spectacular
Yeah.
in this film.
And he's bald, if I remember correctly, right?
He's
Balding?
balding. He's balding.
Yeah.
No, he has hair. He has hair. Absolutely.
Oh, I thought his character was bald.
No. But he's kind of a hitman. He's also he shoots dead bodies. He's actually, his whole ruse is that he's a photographer for a newspaper.
That's
and he
right,
takes pictures
yes.
of corpses, but he ends up killing half of them, and then he takes a picture and so forth. But you know, this is Tom Hanks's movie. He's on the run.
Yeah.
There's all this kind of a circular backlash where everybody is now to be avenged.
Yes.
By Paul Newman wants to avenge. Here is our guy right
Kieran
here.
Hines.
There he is. A great actor.
He's
too.
great.
I think he was a little bit wasted, but you know, at least he's in the film.
Well, also, this was 2002, where he was probably
right.
still getting into Hollywood. He was
Probably
obviously
so.
and probably
Probably
in
a
England,
stage actor.
BBC,
and,
all that stuff.
Probably
you know?
a stage actor in England somewhere in the
Yeah.
UK. Who knows? This little kid, I think, is very good.
Yeah, he's
he
good.
plays Tom Hanks' son, the guy who witnessed the murder. So the whole film is kind of a cat and mouse between Jude Law, Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
and very clever. I love this film.
It's a very well done film. It's
a
beautiful to look at.
looking
The
film.
cinematography
Oh my
is to
God.
die for.
It's
Yeah.
not just the cinematography.
It's just
I mean, it's well
gorgeous
shot.
composition.
It's composition. It's art
Yeah.
direction. It's everything. Look at
Yeah.
this shot. I
Beautiful.
mean, everywhere we look.
And this
there's
was the
just
shot,
something to see.
if I remember correctly, that there was so much conversation on with the candle lit.
Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of focus on that when the director, when that director of photography was getting the posthumous award, because I think he died before he collected the Oscar. Right?
Carrie,
Yeah.
Brooker, I forgot his name. But he's quite dead, in fact, and he did die.
Yeah, he was prominent. He was a prominent guy.
He was a
Yeah,
very
one of his
famous,
last film. Yeah,
very famous cinematographer.
go look him up real quick.
Yeah, he's wonderful. It's just a beautifully shot film. It's a great looking film. It's a great drama.
Yeah.
You know, I saw this back in 2002. Unfortunately, I was living with my wife at the time, who was very, very ill, and we were so involved.
Conrad L. Hall.
That's his name.
Yeah, Conrad Hall.
And we were so involved in hospitals and things like that that I saw this film. It didn't even enter my eyes into my brain. Today, I actually watched this film on my computer, and I loved it.
This guy
absolutely loved it.
Conrad Hall actually has 3 Oscars for cinematography. I thought he only had the 1.
What else did
He has Road to Perdition. He also won for American Beauty
Of course.
and for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So everybody knows him. Paul Newman
He's
knows
been around
him.
a long time. Yeah.
Been around a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
But this is a great film. If you haven't checked it out, seek out Road to Perdition.
Paul was pretty good as the mob
I liked
boss.
him a lot.
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
He plays it with a very soft touch.
He does.
There's not a, and so does Tom Hanks. He plays it with a soft touch too. There's never any, we don't see anybody really get angry in this film, except maybe Daniel Craig.
Craig, yeah.
Everybody else kind of plays it on the very low key. And that brings the tension, I think, a little bit higher, and I like that.
And it was also nice to see not only Tom, but Paul going against type in this film.
Yeah.
Different role for him.
True.
You know, it was cool.
Was this his last night? I think this was his last role.
No. I think his last role was a voice in one of the Cars movies. No, he was.
Oh, no,
he
that's
died more recent than 2002. He died. I want to say.
No, I know that, but I know he stopped doing films. I know he was the voice in the Cars movies.
Yeah. Let's check real quick.
But I'm gonna go. Oh, there he was with Sam Mendes right there.
Yes. Where's Paul Newman? Here he is. Okay. Let's see what his last film was as an actor. But any other thoughts before we leave?
It's a great little movie. It's a machine gun. It's a, it's a violent film. It catches us off guard at a lot of points. Just beautifully acted. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so 2000...
It's a bit of a classic.
2006 through 2008, he did 4 voices in animated projects.
Right.
His last film where he was on screen was, I remember this there was a mini-series on HBO called Empire Falls. And he was in that for 2 episodes.
Okay.
So that was a mini-series. That was the last time he appeared on stage as an actor.
On screen.
On screen, I'm sorry.
Right.
And then this was the last big theatrical film that he was in.
Yeah, I kind of thought so.
So yeah,
I thought so.
So it's kind of a good note to go out on.
Good note to go out. A long time that we had Paul could have done some more stuff.
Could have been.
I remember James Cagney was in Ragtime. That was his last film.
Yeah.
And He was nominated for an Oscar for that, believe it or not.
It's cool.
This is a violent film.
It's violent,
This is a nice little companion piece to The Highwaymen, in a sense.
In a way, yeah.
Just that it's set in the 1930s.
Yes.
It's got that prohibition darkness hovering over
time
the
period that, like I said
community.
before, I love.
It's a great.
I love it,
It's a
yeah.
great movie. I adored it.
It's a very good film. Check it out.
And very satisfying.
It is.
Just
No, it is. Yeah.
Everything about it is.
I have
really-
nothing negative to say. It's a really good film.
It's a really great story.
And now our last
more
little
than
gangster
important.
film. It's a flashback to 2009, a little bit more recent, 10 years old. Michael Mann's Public Enemies with.
This film is on here because of me.
Yeah, you love this film.
Love this.
It's a good movie, and I love Michael Mann, so I was
I do too.
I was like fine with it, you know.
I got you.
And we have Johnny
John
Depp.
Dillinger story.
Johnny Depp. On his trail is Christian Bale.
Yep. Played by Edgar Hoover. No, he's not Edgar, is he?
No, Christian Bale is just a.
He's the cop.
He's
who
an FBI
plays-
guy, right?
Yeah. J. Edgar is
He's played by Billy Crudup,
Correct,
I think.
correct.
Yes.
Billy Crudup.
He's in this film.
Yeah, he is. He's
Marion
great.
Cotillard
I
is
like
in this
him.
film.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a few other actors to play some of the other gangsters, like Stephen Graham. We have a few other characters. This is a cool little movie.
The beauty of this film is the authenticity that Michael Mann went through
Yes.
to get this on screen.
Yeah.
These particular, this jail that he's in was the actual jail that John Dillinger was in
yeah.
at the time. Johnny Depp said later on, there's a scene, of course, we all know, I don't know if you know how John Dillinger died, but he's killed outside the Biograph Theater. They're playing a film actually called the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No, that's a joke.
You're right.
But I did go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Biograph Theater. I must have gone 100 times. Because I was with a girl...
In Chicago, right?
In Chicago, the Biograph Theater, and I was with a girl who played Little Nell. So she was my girlfriend, and we'd go every Saturday night, and she would dress up as Little Nell, and while the film was on the screen, she would perform the Little Nell part on the floor, which is the nature of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
But that's not true, obviously, because in 1934 or so, when John Dillinger was killed, it was actually Manhattan Melodrama with Clark Gable that was on. But Johnny Depp made point that his head hit the ground on the exact spot that John Dillinger's head hit the ground when he was shot.
Is there some kind of a marker outside the theater?
Yes, there is.
There must
Well,
be.
you know, when I used to go to the Biograph all the time, I remember one particular day I had gone down there. I was seeing another girl that lived down in that way in Chicago. I was going to see this girl. And I stopped off, I had come out of the Biograph, and I walked about 3 doors down, and there was a coffee shop there. I walked into the coffee shop, and the girl at the coffee shop said to me, because I said, you know, hey, John Dillinger was killed out here, and there must be a marker around or something like and she said, well, I can tell you this actually used to be like a morgue. Not a morgue area, but this is where John Dillinger's body was laid out in this very room that we are in right now.
Wow.
It was actually laid out
That's pretty
here
cool.
before he was brought to the morgue, in fact. So, but there's Michael Mann up there. But I love this movie. I just love the heart of it. All the scenes are filmed basically. There's a big kind of like not a chateau, but it's an actual it's a hotel that they actually shot up, and they had to redo the whole thing. But the authenticity of this film is off the chain.
No, it's very, very intricate.
wonderful.
Every little detail is attended to.
Every little thing that they
There's
could use
Stephen
the
Graham.
real.
I believe he plays Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And
then we see him on Boardwalk Empire for like
Yeah.
6-7 years.
You know what I would have loved to have done would have been put the John. Yeah, here he is. But I would have loved to put the John Dillinger film in here because it would have fit perfectly. Just called Dillinger, and it was with Michelle Phillips. Believe it or not, is in that film. Mamas and the Papas.
Oh wow!
And it is just a great movie, and it's just the same kind of film. It's just bank robbers, and Warren Oates plays John Dillinger. It's wonderful. I love that movie. But this film, I tell you, this has a very solid place in my heart.
I remember it being a very good film.
Little segments. John Dillinger actually had balls bigger than any human being on the planet. He literally, the World Series was on, and he's #1 Public Enemy. So what does he do? Well, he walks into the police station.
Yeah.
This is right as part of the film.
Yeah.
He walks into the police station and he goes over and he looks right while the guys are all in there, listening to the radio.
Yeah.
They're all listening to the actual radio playing the World Series. And he just walks in there and he's looking up at the board. Oh, here I am, John Dillinger, public enemy #1. And he's standing there and he's looking around. And then he walks out. And, he just had amazing...
and I thought...
Cojones.
Johnny, I thought was very good in this role. I liked him in this.
I loved him in this.
He does a good job with just expressing menace just with his eyes.
No, he's a great actor.
He's a very good actor.
He's a great actor.
I always like Johnny Depp.
Unfortunately, it's rather sad to me that his new, his kind of drunken Hunter S. Thompson drug-induced persona has overshadowed the actor who is now Johnny Depp.
I know.
He used to be, I'll never forget, an Academy Award show from like 6 years ago. He had just done that Neverland movie.
Yeah.
And I love that. And there he was in the theater at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Yeah. And somebody said to him, "Hey, Johnny, that little girl over there, she wants to meet you." And the camera just kind of, it was at the beginning. It was behind the, it was like during a commercial.
The red carpet or something, that part?
No, it wasn't the red carpet.
It was during the broadcast.
It was inside the theater.
Okay.
And somebody says, "Hey, Johnny, that little girl wants to meet you over there." And so, and I don't know why, they just went to this before they went to a commercial or something. So you see Johnny Depp go walking over to the little girl and goes, "Hi, I'm Johnny Depp." And the little girl goes, "Oh, I love you in Nightmare on Elm Street." No, I'm kidding. She didn't say that.
Probably Pirates.
Probably Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever. It's Billy Crudup.
Well, they say he's still wonderful with autographs, like very gracious.
I bet he is. He does have a heart of
He
gold.
shows up to cancer hospitals all the time in costume as Jack Sparrow. He does it all the time.
I don't know if he
does
that anymore.
He still does it. I read it within the past couple of years. He was still doing it.
Okay, I bet not in the last year.
Well, maybe not the last year, but
Amber Hahn right now for
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard, rather. Yeah. He's after her.
Well, regardless, he's a good actor.
He's a good guy. Unfortunately, now he doesn't bathe, and he just looks like a greasy kind of a homeless, bead laden kind of bum to me. He's just turned into something. One of the most beautiful women in the world, as far as I'm married. Oh my God!
If you haven't seen her in La Vie en Rose, check that out. Where she plays Edith Piaf.
3 different versions of Edith Piaf are played by this woman. She won the Academy Award.
Oscar.
Nobody even had seen the film so much, except the Academy members who knew all about it from the screener that they received from the Academy. But my God, I love this film.
No, it's a good film.
It really is wonderful.
It fits really nicely into our little segment here.
It really does. I wish we could have done Dillinger with Warren Oates. That would have been the perfect finale, as opposed to even, Bonnie and Clyde and... what else?
Untouchables.
Untouchables. I could have left out the Untouchables and put in Dillinger.
Yeah, but you don't want to have 2 Dillinger movies. It's a little too much.
Yeah, I would have liked those.
It's nice that it covers. We're covering 4 separate stories. It's kind of.
No, I understand that, but no, that Dillinger film is. It's a little on the slow side. Richard Dreyfuss plays Babyface Nelson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Really cool.
I'll check it out.
I have it on my collection. I can give it to you. I can let you watch it.
But. Regardless, this was cool though. Check out Public Enemies if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we just wanted to do a little gangster flashback for you.
We're going to try to do a little more flashback theme shows, at least one a month, to just kind of break things up from just new movies to get something interesting from the past, because it's important to know what came before,
It is?
The current... It is, because there's a lot of...
You mean there are other movies besides current ones?
Believe me, there are kids out there that don't want to hear anything about a movie that's not current. Yeah. I used to have a friend of mine that was a good 15 years younger than me that would tell me, "You want me to watch a movie from the 70s? Get out of here."
I kind of feel the same way about you, my friend. I kind of say to you, hey, can I get you to watch a movie prior to the 1980s?
It's completely baseless in any ounce of fact whatsoever.
It has been a little bit of work, though.
Not really, no.
To get you to see some films from the past.
No, it's not at all. I don't like silent films. I'm not a big fan of silent films.
Silent is another story.
But here's the
point. Talking about, I've mentioned a dozen films.
Yeah, but the point is that you always conveniently forget is that if we're not going to review it on the show, I don't have time to watch it.
No. We've only been doing this show for a year and a half.
I know, but I can't always fit in a movie to watch when I'm watching 5 hours of bullshit every week.
Stop. We've only been doing this show for a year and a half,
I know,
2 years,
but you
whatever it is.
mischaracterize me all the time.
I'm talking about you as a person on Earth watching movies.
I've seen a lot of old movies.
You pretty much focus on films from your era and in the years since. It's hard. I'm not saying.
I'm not saying it's hard.
No.
It's not hard.
It's not so hard.
It's not.
I do believe
I've seen a lot of old movies.
I do
I
believe
just haven't
that,
seen as many as you.
Correct. But I do believe my influence upon you has been good in a sense
No,
where
of
I
course it's
have
good.
gotten you to watch films.
Of course, but I watched old movies
True
before
classics.
I met you.
Yeah, but not as many.
You don't know that for
Well,
a fact.
No, I don't.
That's a Darwinism that you put into your brain
Well,
because you think
I'll
you're Jesus
mention-
Christ of cinema.
No, that's not
you
true.
You do think
no,
that.
You're so wrong.
It's
But I'll
so
mention
true.
films to you that I just can't believe you haven't seen sometimes.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it. I haven't
True.
avoided it.
Yeah.
You have to
I
remember
understand.
something. We have a 30-year generation difference here.
Yeah.
Going on 30 years.
Well, no,
When I was a
30
kid,
years.
when I
It's only
was
25.
born in 1978 to the early 90s, I was in my very young adolescence. I wasn't at an age that I would be able to be mature enough to watch some of these movies or have the interest to have the film buff mentality at that point.
Yeah,
I've always loved.
I have to be honest.
Yeah,
I did.
well, good for you. I'll give you a cookie later. But
where
my
is that
point
cookie?
is,
You're not gonna give me
I
any-
evolved. My taste in film has evolved at a much later
I agree.
period.
No, that's
the
true.
past
That's
20
all I
years
just
or
said to
so.
you. That's all I really
No,
just said.
but what you say is a blanket statement. You don't watch old movies, or you haven't watched old movies, which is not true. I've probably seen at least 100 old movies, meaning prior to my birth of 1970. I mean, I've seen a lot of old movies.
No, I understand.
I just haven't seen as many as you. You've had a hell of a head start.
I understand that.
You know?
I totally understand.
I just don't.
I'm not
I
trying
just
to.
don't like to be misrepresented because it's not a fact.
It's not an insult upon you, and you're taking.
No,
it
but
as
I take it offense because that's not who I am.
Well, okay.
You make it seem like I'm only this closed-minded film guy who only watches
No,
movies
that's not true.
till 1980.
I'm just saying that in your
not who I am.
lifetime, and you're exactly right, you've evolved. Because as we all do, listen, I grew up in the, let's say, the later 60s, etc. So a lot of films that I did see, yes, you focus on those films, but I always went back. It's just the nature of who I am. And it also had a lot to do with my childhood. My childhood was so horrendous. My parents hated each other. So movies were a crutch for me in every sense.
For you,
of the
that's
word.
your escape. You're going to
It was
the
my escape.
old cinema. For
So
me,
I did go back to films from
different
I went
upbringing.
back to the 20s. I went back to the 30s when I was in high school. I was going down at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch Grand Hotel.
Yeah.
Best Picture 1936 or I was down there to get down. Actually, that was like 34. It was no 34 was it happened one night. 35 Mutiny on the Bounty. Grand Hotel was like 32, I believe. Cavalcade, Cimarron, all in those things. I saw all those films because I there was a guy in high school I knew.
I know you told me the
I
guy
told you
was
the story.
obsessed.
Brian,
Yeah.
his name was.
He knew all the best
forgive me,
pictures.
Robert Manis. He knew
Yes.
all the best pictures, best actors, best actors. Of
course.
He actually named 75 Humphrey Bogart.
That's
movies.
great.
Right in school, he wrote them on down.
I've done that for years with different actors.
I was
love,
blown away.
you know?
So he kind of inspired me to go down there and to get that movie, that education. I've always craved it. I've always loved it. I love foreign films as much as I love American films. I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of foreign films that I adore. I mean, I'll see anything. I will literally see anything. And but and this is no insult to you. It's just and I'm not blowing my own horn because, ladies and gentlemen, if I could blow my own horn, I wouldn't need a date for Saturday
That's
night.
true.
Ta-da-ba. But it's just the nature of movies have been a way of life for me, and for you, it's you've acquired. Now they are.
Well, the movies have always been a part of my life. I mean, my family has had to pull me away from watching movies since I was a kid. My grandfather would always say to me,
I do apologize.
You like
I
movies?
do apologize. I didn't mean to.
Because they know I love them.
I don't want to be a condescending asshole to you. I listen.
Well, I apologize, accept it. Because that's how
I adore
a
the
lot
person
of
that
times
you are. I love.
That's what happens is that you come
I agree. I do. And I apologize
that's not the case. I know.
I apologize for that. I was out of line. I totally
okay.
100%. I am sorry.
That's just
because
who you
listen, you love movies as much as I do.
course.
We talk about
I
them.
wouldn't be doing this show
We are
if I didn't love
intricate.
movies.
We love the art of cinema. We just adore it. It's the performances, the people. We're involved in every aspect of the world of movies. Look, this is right out of The Graduate, right?
I know, yeah, it
practically.
is. Yeah.
The old Mrs. Robinson legs here. It's not Anne Bancroft. That's Maria Cotillard.
Cotillard, yeah.
But you know, hey, it is what it is. But anyway,
But yeah, so-
our show is over. I love this guy. There he is from Avatar, right there. Isn't
Yeah,
that
Stephen.
him?
Is that
Sure.
Stephen Lang? It might be.
Absolutely.
It might be
Gotta
him, yeah,
him.
yeah.
Gotta be him.
But yeah, anyway, yeah. So that's our flashback show. We'll be back next week. We do have only two little things coming out next week that I'll just mention, just because I like doing that.
Okay.
We have Hellboy, the remake or reboot, I should say,
Yeah.
which looks interesting. What happened? Where?
I think you turned off the machine. No, you didn't.
What happened?
No, nothing. Okay, you can hit the button. Maybe you didn't.
That's weird. Why would that picture not come up?
I don't know.
Wow, that's odd. Does this one come up? No,
Yeah,
that
there you
comes
go.
up.
That's
But
odd.
why wouldn't the next one? Well, maybe if I
Creators
just
of Kubo.
maybe I just leave it. Maybe then it'll go to Hellboy.
Maybe it will.
But yeah, Hellboy is coming out with David
Hellboy
Harbour
does
taking
not
over the
look
role.
so good, I gotta say.
I don't know what's going on
Very
with that.
disappointed.
But I'll check it out. It looks like fun.
Okay.
Hellboy. I don't know why the picture's not going
Maybe the
big.
picture's too small and it actually.
No, I always pick ones with big
Well, it looks,
file
does
sizes.
not look very sharp here.
No,
It
that's
looks
really
very
strange.
small. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
That's just so odd.
It said 490 by 755, so it should have been a.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe it got corrupted. That's very odd. Weird.
No, it doesn't want.
Because I get all the posters from this high quality poster site.
It obviously.
And I don't know why that one's not working.
All right.
Anyway,
very well. There you
we'll see you guys
go.
next week.
That's our little
And,
flashback show.
we'll
Is
look
there anything
forward to
else you want to talk about?
No,
A
I'm
moment
good.
or two?
Yeah, we're good.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
So with that, we bid you adieu.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.
Louie, where are you?
Road. Yeah, where we going now? Yeah, let's just,